is going to be killer. So the reason that I'm going through this is my call for this year and how I'm going to serve everyone that's in my group and everyone who's going to be in the group and everyone of you guys and just the world this year is just helping women specifically, but everyone get back on their authentic path. Like, we have taken some crazy detours, some crazy detours in this life. And sometimes you could take a detour and then turn and 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 turn again so much that without realizing it, you are nowhere close to being in the place. What up, though? You are nowhere close. And go blue. You are nowhere close to being in the place to where God had for you. And this is, for me, this is a huge deal because one thing that I've been really good at navigating it and doing is going against the grain. Like, I've never been the person to take the typical path. I've never been the person who feels like, hey, if everyone else is doing this, let me just follow this path too. I've never been the one to feel like I need to take, follow someone else's formula. Now, I will follow a system, but what I'm not going to do is mold my life based upon the pattern of someone else's life unless there's been an indicator that my life is supposed to mirror theirs. And what I find is oftentimes we'll be in places and we'll have all these goals and things. And it's like, yeah, what's out there and what's out here, if that's for me, is mine. Yes, it is for you. And what's for you is for you. But you have to be you to get it. You have to be you to get it. You've got to be authentically you. All the good things about you, you have to be that. And what I often see is that we will look at, hey, this is what I want, and this is what I want to get out of life. And then we'll start being and kind of molding ourselves into the personalities of all these other people that we think are the epitome of success in that area. But no, they're being successful because they're successful at being them. Meaning they're in their lane and they're expressing authentically in that lane. And to make it even clearer, you can't attract the people that are supposed to be in your life and the people that are supposed to help you on your journey as someone else. And so I'm saying that to say that knowing who you are is the first step to great decision making. Like, I can look back at my life with some of the people that I've dated in the past, and I'm like, girl, you had no business going out with them. Do you not know who you are? And not in a place of being better than anyone, not from like a space of classism, not a space of anything. But sometimes it's just like, you know better. You're way too good for that. Or even better, like it if you've ever seen someone where you see who they're with, and you're like, now you know that ain't you. Right. From a space of alignment. Exactly. From a space of alignment. And so, but we do this all the time, but not just in the space of relationships. It could be in financial decisions. It could be in your career decisions, your friendships, your romantic relationships, your career decisions. Every little decision needs to be informed by who you are authentically. And what this does, and knowing who you are, what it'll do is it'll clear out the chaos, the confusion, the conformity, the purposelessness, the loneliness, the low confidence, and the myriad of other mojo killers. It'll just clear all that out because you already know, look, this is who I am. This is where I am. This is where I need to be. This is the path that I need to be on. And what I'm going to do is just navigate myself there. But most importantly, what knowing who you are does is it helps you to navigate life and to live in abundance. It doesn't mean that you're not going to struggle, because sometimes struggle is a part of the process, but at least you're taking part in your struggle and your process. meaning it's refining you on your authentic path instead of you just trying to move and shake and do whatever. Like there's been times where I've looked back and I'm like, why am I pushing so hard to be this thing? I don't even want that. And it was more of, hey, people who are successful do this. People who are successful, this is how they live. This is their routine. This is that. And all of that is a great starting place. But when you know who you are, you don't really have to go through all of that. Because guess what? That person can find success doing that. But that doesn't mean that's going to be successful for you. You need to do something that is based upon and is aligned with your gifts and how God built you. Every good thing about you comes from God, and He didn't build you for everything and everyone. He built you for something specific, for something very, very, very specific. And this is how you know. This is how you know you may be misaligned in this area. You ever just feel like everything's just a little bit off? Like you're trying, you're putting out the resume, you're going on dates, you're doing this, you're doing that, but everything just kind of feels a little bit off. And y'all, please continue to like and share so we can get people in here so that way they can stop doom scrolling and get some real answers for life. I prayed about this. I went through this. I spent about 2 days putting this together. I'm going to share this with my small group tonight, but that'll be more in Q&A format. But this is going to be for you all. And so when you're sitting there and you're like, man, everything just feels a little bit off, and you just find yourself going through the same negative patterns and cycles of repeat. And life becomes like Groundhog's Day, where you're just going through the same things over and over and over again. New faces, new spaces, new all of this other stuff, right? But it's still the same cycles and patterns of repeat. And I am going to challenge you to say, like, hey, part of this isn't just bad luck. Part of this is you're navigating your life as someone else. And so this is what's going to happen when you reconnect with your authentic self. The first thing is you're going to find meaning. And when people say, like, look, I'm just trying to find meaning, or life feels meaningless or purposeless or whatever, really what finding meaning is operating within your function. Meaning you're operating based upon how you were made and what you were created to do. Now, if you have kids, this is so easy to see, because like you can have a child that's literally nothing like you, can be in the house with you, can be around you every day. You know, maybe you're a tomboy and you got a daughter that's a girly girl who loves to wear pink, who needs to, like, you know, just do the most, and you wear sweatpants every day and you play basketball, and, you know, she wants to go on American Idol and you want her to be a WNBA player, but can grow up with you in the same house. That is an example, and we could see it. That's an example of God placing something specific within each person. Now, this is what happens. We evolve, because there's nothing wrong with transforming to like the next iteration of yourself. But what ends up happening is, instead of transforming to the next iteration of ourselves and evolving, what we do is conform to what's safe and to what people have deemed as acceptable. And people have fear-mongered us into conforming to being XYZ person. But remember, what's for you is for you, and you've got to be you to go get it. You've got to be you to go get it. So the first thing is you're going to find meaning, and you're going to get the joy and the fruitfulness that goes along with operating within your specific function. The next thing you're going to find yourself being is less critical and less judgmental. And what happens when you do that is you're going to attract more people and love into your life. The moment you stop judging, the moment you stop criticizing, and the more you start learning how to accept people, you're going to attract better people into your life. You're going to attract the positive people that you need to be surrounded by, but they're not going to come until you get to that place. Number 4, it's going to give you permission to not excel at everything. Meaning you're not going to be a perfectionist about everything. You ever seen someone who's trying to be number one at every single little thing that they do? They always look and feel tired. Like, there's only one Muggsy Bogues who was, I think he was 5'5" in the NBA. Everybody else is like 6'4", 6 feet, whatever, plus, right? Sometimes you just got to go after what's for you. And it gives you permission to not be amazing at everything. But what you do need to be amazing at is the thing that you do. All right. And let me give you an example. This example came to me as I was writing this out. And I love animals, okay? And I want to go on like a safari and see lions and everything. But when you think about it, right, everyone, anytime you think of something that's like dominant or strong, or they say, look, Jesus is going to come back, like the lion, you always think of the king of the jungle, the king of the Serengeti, like who's out here just trying to fight a lion? Now, here's the thing. If you were to drop a lion out of nowhere, if you were to just drop a lion into the Serengeti, would that lion automatically just become a snow leopard? I'm sorry, if you were to drop a lion into Antarctica or in the mountains of China, would this lion automatically become a snow leopard? Now, he's strong. Remember, lions like to fight. They like to do all those things. Would that lion become a snow leopard? Y'all comment. And y'all please like and share. Thank y'all. No, the answer is no. Let me give you a couple quick facts. One, snow leopards like steep and broken landscapes, meaning 70% of the land that they inhabit, no one's even been up there before. Like they way up in the mountains somewhere in China where it's snowy and all of this other stuff. It's cold. It's all of that. Snow leopards like to hunt at dawn and dusk, meaning they are up first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening. All right. Snow leopards don't attack humans. Lions will absolutely attack a human. They don't have any sort of records of a snow leopard ever attacking a human being. Probably because they don't come across them very often, but they just don't. That's just not their thing. Snow leopards like to be alone. Also, snow leopards cannot roar. They literally look like this big cat. And they make this like, in order to mate, they make this like high-pitched meow. But it's crazy to see this big old cat that you're like, this could kind of be like a lion, but it can't roar. It's like, meow. It's like, it's crazy to watch, okay? And they're considered to be in the smaller cats. Lions roar. Period. They're going to be loud and proud. You're going to hear them all throughout, all right? They like being in the savannas, grasslands, open woods. But here's another thing. Lions are also very social. And they hunt at midnight, at the late night. And so think about it like this. If you're a lion trying to be a snow leopard, you have to give up everything about yourself. Everything that you like to do in all of your ways, you have to give up in order to become a snow leopard. Just because someone dropped you in the wrong environment, in the wrong atmosphere, and you've lost your identity as a lion. So that means you have to stop roaring. Now, instead of hunting at night and sleeping most of the day, now you got to be up early in the morning to hunt. When really you're a night person. You like to hunt when the moon's out. You know, you got to lose 100 pounds. You know, instead of running around flatlands and chilling, now you got to be climbing mountains every day. You got to give up all of your friends. Because you remember, you know, if you want to be a snow leopard, you got to be willing to be alone. Snow leopards are only around other snow leopards to breed and to raise their kids. And once their kids get to like 18 months, they like, see you later. And they all kind of go off on their own, right? So yeah, you'd have to give up all your friends. You'd have to move. You'd have to become a morning person. You'd have to stop roaring. You'd have to lose 100 pounds. You'd have to do all of these things to become a snow leopard. Does anything like that sound familiar? where you have to stop being you. You have to stop being you in order to find success on the other side. And some of our struggles come from us leaving who we actually are behind and trying to find success in someone else's lane. When you are in your lane, there's always enough room for you. So this is the year and this is the cleanup season. And I'm declaring right now and I'm decreeing right now that this is the year of recovery. But we have to make room. Meaning this is the year where you're going to get all your stuff back. You're going to get your check back. You're going to get your mindset back. You're going to get your peace back. You're going to get all of those things back. But you have to make room for it. You have to make room for it. And I want you to think about this. What's been taking up space in your life because you're not connected with your true identity? And here's some signs that you aren't really connected with your true identity. And y'all, please continue. Tap the screen. Tap, 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 tap. Like it, share it, especially if you like this information. Don't gatekeep. Do not gatekeep. If you like it, if you like the information, if it's helping you, if it's blessing you, share it with somebody else. We got to teach the algorithm that we like things other than just ratchetivity. But I do like ratchetivity. I'm not going to lie. I'm not... I also like other things as well. So here's some signs that you aren't being yourself. The first thing is you find yourself consistently people pleasing. So you go in spaces and you're just doing the absolute most. You ever go someplace and you see someone doing the most, no matter what? And it's not like, oh, it's just their personality. Like some people just have that personality where it's just like, I went to the University of Michigan, go Blue, School of Music, Theater, and Dance. And let me tell you something. I went to school with a bunch of musical theater people. All of them do the most, but they're also on Broadway. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that person that you go to a party and they got to be in everybody's face. They got to be doing this. And it's almost like they're a puppy. Like, please give me attention. Please give me attention. So if you find yourself people pleasing, you're not being yourself. Number 2, do you find yourself being fake happy? Oh, hi. How are you? Or overly aggressive. I have met people too that they're overly aggressive. And I'm like, friend, you are not a thug. Hi, Pumpkin. My little dog here. She just broke in. Right? They're being overly aggressive. And really or fake mad. Right? You're angry all the time, but really you're just real sensitive and you don't want anyone to see it. And really what that person's doing and what you may be doing and what we've all done is just putting on who you feel will be the most accepted and respected in that space. Thank you for liking. Who will be the most respected and accepted in that space. If you're doing that, you're not really connected with who you are, and you're not going to get the respect in that space anyway, because everyone can see through it. Number 3, you hate being alone. If you can't be alone. Number 4, always exhausted. If you're always exhausted, remember, playing roles can be tiring. Number 5, you don't have any goals or dreams. You're just out here surviving. Number 6, you're just doing what you have to do. You don't feel like you have any options. That is a clear sign that you're not in your lane. Because when you are in your lane, you always know that you have options. Number 8 is just that general feeling of being lost. Number 9, worrying about what others say or believe about you. I remember one of the best things I ever heard in my life is that there's 2 different types of people in this world. People who are worried about how things look to others and how things seem to others. And then the people who are more concerned with how things are. And those are 2 different people. And this is the key. If you're always worried about how things look to someone else, things will never be great because all of your decisions will be based upon perception. You might have to go through a dry season where you don't put that extra investment into whatever. You might have to drive your car longer than everyone else. You may not have the newest and the freshest clothing. You may not have You may not be able to go out to eat every day. You may not be able to do all the things that you would like to do or what people want to see you do or what feels good for them, right? But you're investing back into how you want things to actually be. And let me tell you, I've spent time with some and have clients and have been in circles of people that have extreme wealth. I'm talking like $100 million saved, and you can't get them to spend money on anything. You just can't. And they just spend on the things that they love, and they are very frugal with the things that they like. So, um, you have issues with self-acceptance. I remember there was a time where, oh, this was years ago, where I just remember thinking all the time, why am I like this? 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 And literally one of my coaches at the time was like, you'd be much further if you focus so much on less on why am I like this instead of I'm like this because, and looking at, hey, you're like this for what purpose? Especially all the good things. Now, I'm not telling you that you should, have a bad attitude and all the things that are just some character flaws that you need to work on. But the things that are great about you, honey, accept that. If you criticize constantly, hyper criticism is usually someone replaying their own thoughts outwardly towards others. And it's also a sign of having massive anxiety, where you're constantly worried about how things are perceived, and just critical, 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 critical. 13, if you just feel miserable. 14, you're just going along with the group consensus. People are saying stuff, they're laughing about stuff, and you're just laughing too. Ha 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 ha! You didn't think that was funny? That doesn't resonate with who you are. That doesn't resonate with your character. And this is the thing too. We'll go with the group consensus, but we want more than everyone else. We want to stand out, but also not stand out at the same time. And typically what happens is the person that does go left when everyone goes right, that's the person who ends up getting the opportunity. And not just doing it just for the sake of doing it, but really when it resonates with you. Number 15 is just feeling awkward. I never feel awkward when I'm being myself. I only feel awkward whenever I'm putting on to be accepted by the people around me. I'm like me being myself authentically, I never feel awkward. I may feel like I stick out, but I never feel awkward. I only feel awkward when I'm trying to blend in. Number 16, if you're resentful all the time. Why? Because there's parts of you that really you're just tired. You're just tired of trying to fit in with other people. And this is some other ways to know. It's just when you just know. And so what I want you to do is just like take a moment and really think about, because I think we do a really good job of being our authentic self as children. And did you know our subconscious does not mature past the age of 8? So that deep part of you is still childlike. And it's what resonated with you at age 8 are the same things that resonate with you now. We've just built up all of these calluses over the years. For instance, when I was a kid, I loved dancing, being outside, riding my bike, playing in the woods, running around my neighborhood with my dog, meeting new friends, listening to music, singing opera music at the top of my lungs, and just being weird, in my house, like all of these different things. And guess what? As an adult, I still love riding my bike, hiking, playing with dogs, being fun, being adventurous, being loud and flamboyant, being all of those things. And anytime I move away from that, thank you for liking. Anytime I move away from that, I know that I'm moving away from my authentic self. Whenever I'm not skipping, humming, dancing, and just being vibrant, I know that I'm not being my authentic self. It just is. So I want you to really think about What were you like? What were you like before all the mess? What were you like before people made fun of you? Because the same things that people will make fun of you about will be the same things that'll be your provision. Like, my mom's friends, she's like, is she always walking on her toes, dancing around the house? Da, 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 da. Well, guess what? I teach dance now, and people book me for dance classes and all this other stuff all the time. All the time. So that same personality that they call crazy is now my provision. If you were a nerd and they called you Norbit, or they called you Steve Urkel, or they called you whatever all the 90s, 80s, 2000s nerds were, that's probably your provision now. And they're not laughing when they need an architect. They're not laughing when they need someone to run their AV. They're not laughing when they need someone to figure out their accounting. They're not laughing at when they need all of those things. So the same things that people made fun of you about, guess what? It's going to be a point of provision for you if you allow it. And if you accept it and you become loud and proud about it. Okay? So you have to do all of those different things. All right? So I want you guys, and I'm going to kind of like challenge you with a couple of different thoughts. The first thing is we have to establish what our true identity is. Because I'm not talking about all the foolishness. The foolishness of when we act up, that's not a part of our identity. It's just not. That's just a part of the foolishness. The first thing I want to establish is from Psalms 139. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. An easier way to understand that is just saying we're awesomely and wonderfully made, meaning you were made in a way that was pleasing to God. So when you had all those quirks and stuff and all those things about you that were just kind of off to other people, those are the things about you that makes God smile. Those are the things about you that makes God smile. Those are the things that he called awesome. And this is why you have to be really, really careful about the difference between transformation and conformity. Is transformation brings you to the next iteration of yourself. That's that next upgrade. Conformity is what you change to make other people more comfortable and to blend in more, to not try to stick out because someone else said, hey, this is different and different is bad. And really what it is that different is challenging and different is scary for other people. And oftentimes what we find and what I find all the time is everyone wants to feel like they're in control of people and their surroundings. And it's much easier and I know it's much easier to control someone who's willing to conform. And when you meet someone that is securely and confidently themselves, and they're showing that they have a lack of desire to conform, then usually that shows, hey, this person's out of control. And this is especially pertinent right now because we are living in a generation, probably social media fueled, but that deals with massive levels of anxiety. And one of the things that you'll see in people, organizations, and societies that are just extremely anxious is the need to control their environments and control the people within those. So you want to make sure that you're taking these things into consideration. So remember, the way that you were made, it's amazing. All those little quirks and unique desires and mindsets were all by design. And it was to equip you to do the thing that's going to continue to please God. Number 2, whatever is a good and perfect gift coming down to us from God our Father, who created all the lights in heaven, right? And he who never changes or casts a shifting shadow, meaning whatever is good about you came from God, and he's not going to change his mind about it. Whatever he made and however he made you that he called good, he's not going to change his mind about it. He's not going to change his mind about it. And so when you have these things about you that are all these little quirks, all these different things, just know that it came from God. And it's a gift, and it's something that you were meant to be using, and you were meant to shine on other people. And y'all, thank you for sitting in here and listening to this. Please like it and comment. You know, y'all, I know I always can tell for my listeners. I know that y'all ain't here, but still continue so I don't feel like I'm by myself. All right. And this is the third thing I'm going to give you. For the gifts and the calling of God are without repentance. And this actually came from Kenneth Hagin, and I love this. Without repentance means he's not going to change his mind about what he's called you to do. So if you want to get that fulfillment, you want to operate in your unique function, you've got to be completely yourself. And you've got to clear space for whatever, whomever is not allowing you to do that. Why? Because if he calls you to do it, the calling is still there, whether or not you're on the path or not. Meaning if you're supposed to be on I-20 or whatever highway is in your hometown, and you're on 85, the calling is still on I-20. And it doesn't matter how far you go down the 10 in California, whatever. I'm trying to name, what are some of the highways in New York? I can't remember, but it doesn't matter if you're all the way 100 miles down the 10. I don't care if you've gone down. Great points. I'm not religious. The truth is the truth no matter what. I'm not religious either. So, and the cool fact is, Jesus wasn't religious either. So down the 405, yes, it don't matter. If you were 100 miles down Pacific Coast Highway, down the 405, whatever, and the calling was over here, the calling is still over there. It don't matter if you're 1,000 miles and 4 hours in. And any of you guys ever find yourself to where you've driven like an hour or two, like on a long road trip, an hour or two in the wrong direction? That road don't care that you put 2 hours in. Guess what you got to do? You got to turn around and get back on the right road. But at least as far as our human experiences, we have the ability to mentally and spiritually get back on the right path and then quickly redirect in the natural. Okay. So that's the thing. If God gave you a gift and he gifted you along a certain line, the gift is still there. But the only way you're going to tap into that and that gift is going to provide for you, and that gift is going to pave your way into, just really be fruitful in your life, is that you have to accept who you are. Because everything isn't for everyone, and that's including you. This is another thing. This comes from Proverbs 18:16. A person's gifts open doors for him, bringing him access to important people. So if you feel like that door has been shut for a very long time, it's most likely because you are not using your gifts. You may be very highly skilled in something. You may see the statistics in a certain industry. You may have been like, you know what, everybody making money in tech, I'm going to be in tech. And you go and do that. Or, whatever that thing is, right? Because it's not all about, it's not always about your career. Sometimes it can be your relationship. Sometimes it could be friendship. Sometimes it can be a network, whatever that divine assignment is. But your gift is what opens the door. Your gift is what opens the door. You could go through the same training routine that Beyonce goes through. That don't mean you're going to be a singer. It don't matter. You like, you know what? Beyonce says she practiced 6 hours a day. I'm going to practice 6 hours a day. Baby, if that's not your gift, ain't nobody signing you. I don't care how long. I don't care how long you do it, friend. It's not your gift. She said that part. Right. Okay. So, and this is why, and I'm going to take you through something that'll help you reconnect with that and to define that. And if you guys hit my profile, because I actually have a workbook that goes with this, because I'm teaching this to my group tonight, where it's more of like Q&A as we're doing this, and more things that are pertinent to their specific situation. If you want to join the group, it's the link in my bio. It's called The New Luminaries. Join. It's amazing. We have calls every Wednesday. It's amazing. But this is what's going to happen when you reconnect with your authentic self, your identity, and your gifts and skills. Number one, it's going to give you meaning to your experiences. Let me tell you, life is not always easy, but there's a difference between struggling because you're in process and struggling because you're out of alignment. Struggling while you're because you're in process is like someone who's called to be a physician. They go to medical school, and medical school is hard. And then there's a person that's like, look, you're trying to be a physician because your parents will only accept you for doing so. And you're crying every day and every night because that's not your area of anointing. You're not gifted in that area. So you, not saying that you can't get through, but you don't have the natural, just that thing that makes you well suited for that. But let's say you really, really were meant to be an attorney. Yes, law school is going to be difficult, but it's not going to be like you have to tear all your hair out. That's the difference. So reconnecting with your authentic self helps you give meaning to your experiences, because the struggle is real, but sometimes the struggle is fake because it's a fake struggle for you because you're playing a game you should have never been in. All right. Number two, and it's going to help you operate within your function. And you know what? When you struggle within something that is something you're called to do, you can kind of feel like this is a process. And you're more motivated by the challenge than just being dissuaded by the circumstances. Number three, you're going to feel grounded. You're not going to feel lost. And I've been there. Oh my gosh, doing things that I had no business doing, trying to get into circles I had no business trying to get into, trying to do all these things. And you just have this feeling of like, what? Where am I? What is going on? Number four, it's going to help you put things that are in chaos back in order. Meaning you can make some changes. Like, hey, you know what? I've been spending all this time doing X, Y, Z. That's not me. Let me cut that out to make some extra room. And then 5 and 6 are kind of the same. It's going to give your life flow where things just kind of seem to come towards you. It just feels right. And you're going to start feeling like yourself again. So I hope all of you guys do that. So this is what we're going to do. This is just like a quick exercise to help you to rediscover yourself. All right. And I want you to answer these questions, honestly to yourself. And if you want to, write it in the chat, comment, all of that good stuff, right? But when do you feel most fulfilled? When do you feel most fulfilled? What were you doing when you felt very fulfilled? You're like, well, girl, actually, it was Valentine's Day and I was holding a workshop for people, doing floral arrangements, teaching them how to make all these cute little home decor items. I was making baskets for the kids at Easter. I was doing hair. Honey, I did a whole Picasso on someone's nails. Some of y'all were being like, you know what? I was filing invoices. She said, planning my cupcake events. Exactly. Right? When were you feeling most fulfilled? What were you doing? Number two, when do you feel the best about yourself? What are you doing when you feel the best about yourself? Like when I'm coaching and developing and helping people get past that BS, helping people get to the next level in life, like this is when I feel best. Like I should be really hungry right now because my last meal was at 6:30 this morning and I went and worked out. But because I'm doing this, I don't even feel it. But I know in my mind, I should feel hungry right now. All right. When do you feel best about yourself? What are you doing? Who finds you to be the most helpful? When people are like, oh my gosh, you helped me out so much. Man, this really helped me. Thank you so much. Who are those people? Where are you most excited to go? And I don't mean in a form of escapism, like, oh, Lord, I got to get out of here and get a margarita. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, look, like, oh, man, I get to go to blah, 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 blah place. Man, I'm going to have a lot of fun at this networking event. Man, someone's having a talk about something that everyone else finds to be boring, but I think it's the most intriguing thing in the world. Man, I love helping people do blah, 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 blah. I had a girl one time who told me one of her favorite jobs was helping people to remove lice. And I said, girl, you better go do that because I can't do it. You better help these folks and their kids. I can't do it. So you can do all the esthetician, the hair, the gunkiness out the hair, out the eyes, the face, you waxing, all of that. I can't do it. But that is what we're talking about, is a gift. Your gift will provide for you, and your gift is always a blessing to someone else. That person would be me, because I can't remove nothing from somebody's head. Okay. How do you show up? Right, not me. How do you show up when you are the happiest and most fulfilled? How do you show up? Like, what is your energy like? What is your vibe like? Sometimes it's our vibe that really shows how we're not being authentically us. How do you show up? What's your energy like when you're being yourself? Right? And this is how I know, like, when you're being most yourself, typically, not for everyone, but usually when you're being the most yourself, someone's offended by it. Why? Because sometimes who we are is so diametrically opposed from what someone else is that your presence and your authenticity offends them. And that shouldn't be something that makes you sad. Just know that y'all are just cut from two different cloths, and that's okay. That's just okay. Hey, Pastor Fee. Because they can't be themselves, so they get mad. Exactly. That's when I talked about most of the times people that are the least authentic are always the most resentful, the most critical, the most all of those things, because they become envious of someone else's freedom. There's just, and and that's where also jealousy comes from. And when you are being authentically you will find yourself being less and less envious and jealous of others. Why? Because there's something in you that knows you're doing you. And you're actually more motivated when you see other people doing them. But we get jealous of people operating and living in a space that we know we should be, but we're not, because we're getting in our own way. And so the more you show up as yourself, the less that little monster is going to be on your shoulder. I numbered these all crazy, but how do you when do you feel like you're driven by a strong amount of purpose? Then my next question is, what would you do free of charge? What would you do free of charge? Like for me, I'm on here free of charge. What would you do free of charge? Not to say that no one should ever pay for it, but what would you show up and do regardless of with no expectation? Like, I can only, like, you don't want to be cook, what, like, you would do it. That's how you know you're operating in a gift. I'm not a good cook, but I'm gonna try something today. but that's good, and that's how you know that's an area making folks laugh, cook, love, all of that. And then the next part is, what makes you feel most confident? What spaces are you in when you feel most confident? That's also a sign of being able to recognize the spaces in which God has gifted you. And this is the difference between a gift and a skill. Gifted people should become more skilled in the areas of their gifts. But if it's something that just God gave you, it's just, he just planted it inside of you, people will say things like, how do you do that? Like, I might have some of your cupcakes and be like, girl, how did you make this? Because this would take me 8 hours. And to me, there's nothing more frustrating than baking, because everything has to be so exact. Y'all, I made some pecan candy one time, and it's something that I would make really well all the time. And I was in California, and I was renting a room from this lady. She and I were roommates, really, really amazing lady, but she didn't have a candy thermometer. Man, when I'm telling you, that pecan candy, it just, something went off. I got mad, and I ain't made it since. There's been a million Christmases that have passed by since that time, because I'm still mad about it. I'm still mad about it. and this is the thing that really made me upset. Half the batch was so good, and the other half was so off. But I was cooking for like everyone that worked for me at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make these little baked goods, whatever, whatever. And that was the one thing everyone wanted. I was like, okay, it's from Louisiana. I'm about to represent my state. Man. Anyway, it was terrible. And the other side to it too is just thinking about what comes easily to you. When you were a kid, what came easily to you? Like for me, making friends was never a problem. I can do something like, I love pecan candy. Please try again. Pastor P, I'm going to try, but I'm not going to lie. It's been literally 10 years. I got so mad. When you were a child, what sort of things came easily to you? Where are areas where you've received awards, you've won contests, and you received public praise about? And it's not like the public praise like people have to. Just out of nowhere, they just like, girl, God, what is what? What do you do that other people wish they did as well as you? What are your natural gifts? Those are the things that God gave you. And those are the things that are supposed to open up doors for you. But you cannot get the door open if you're not using them. If you're trying to get Peter and Paul's gift and trying to open up the door with their gift, that's not an anointed door for you. And so your gifts were already destined for you. So, and this is extra credit if you want to do this, but call other people that care about you and ask them these same questions. What do they think comes easily to you? What came easily to you as a child? What do they wish they could do that you do? And just to make sure, because oftentimes what I find is when I have my students do this exercise of their list and then they call 2 or 3 friends and get their list, they've left some things off. And this is why your gifts come so naturally to you that you don't even consider them. You don't even consider them. You don't even think about it. You don't even think about it. The gift of organization. Sometimes I look at y'all on TikTok and how you organize your classes and stuff. I'm like, I would have never thought to do that. Or some of y'all have a gift for beauty, doing hair, doing all this other stuff. It's a gift. So you want to do all these things. And so after I ask you these questions, what did you discover based on these questions? And then based on these questions, what should you be doing? Or shall I say, what should you be doing more of? My dogs keep coming in here. Especially Bruno. He'll just bust through the door. Right? What should you be doing more of? Type it in the comments. Don't just say, I hear you, boss. I want you to get some accountability, friend. Cassie Air. What is it that you should be doing more of? Because next time I see you online, I'll be like, are you doing more of this? Still write it anyway. What environments should you be in? Remember the example I gave earlier? Reading the word. Yes, that will always help. Let me tell you, if I don't get that word in me, I will act a fool. Okay. What is it? What's the movie where they turned into I can't remember, but anyway, when you put water on them and they start going crazy when they got wet. But it's like the opposite when I don't read the word. Anyway, so what should you be doing? What environment should you be in? Based on your gifts, where should you be? Also, based on what's not your gift, should also inform where you should not be. Because guess what? You can be some of y'all are really hard on yourselves because you're not thriving. But the reason you're not thriving is because you're in the wrong environment. Remember, we used the lion and the snow leopard. You could drop a lion into Antarctica. It does not mean that lion is it is going to thrive as a snow leopard. Snow leopards, the way they're built, when they breathe in air, that super cold air, there's something in their nose that turns it into warm air. Lions don't have that. They don't have it. So if you drop them off in Antarctica, they gonna die and their baby's gonna die. The same way that you drop a snow leopard off in the Serengeti, they don't have the right colorants. They gonna stand out. And they don't like to throw. They don't like to run in packs. And everybody in the Serengeti runs in a pack, so they just gonna get beat up by elephants. Just gonna all stomp them at the same time because they trying to be alone. So, so what types of environments do you need to be? This can apply to a lot of different things. Sometimes we go and we judge an environment, but really the environment just isn't for us. Whether it's a specific type of church, whether it's a specific type of organization, you can be in the same field, but go into an organization with the wrong type of culture for you, and it just be the wrong environment for you to thrive in. It could be the wrong friendship circle. And sometimes what we'll do is we'll call those people bad when really what they have isn't suited for what we have. And what they have to offer is not something that we need. And so we end up getting in these spats when really it was just the wrong environment for you. It doesn't mean they were bad people. You just had nothing to gain and nothing to contribute there. And anytime you find yourself in a place where you have nothing to gain, nothing to contribute, then you know what's coming next. It's going to be Real Housewives. Somebody's going to throw a drink. It's just a matter of time, right? And then the next question is, based on your gifts, where are you needed? Where will you fill in the gaps? Where will you fill in the gaps? And this is the thing too. So we have your specific gifts, right? But the other side to it too, and this is why it's important to recognize who you are, how God made you, because your gifts also have a specific tone and a specific flow. Sometimes, and I'll give you an example. I have a client of mine who's amazing. And I talk with him. We had meetings every week. I think they were like every Wednesday, sometime in the morning or whatever. Nicest man in the world. Compassionate, loves his wife, loves his kids, really intelligent, whatever. Baby, he would go in that office and would go from the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I don't know which one of them was the mean one, but he would go in there and show out. And I don't know what it was, and he would put on this tone and would put on this flow that was completely not him, and wonder why everyone was leaving. And I'm like, sir, I don't know who you're in here pretending to be or who told you you needed to be that in order to thrive. I don't know what archetype you're following, who you've idolized that said, hey, being a you-know-what hole is what is needed to be successful in business, or having that type of attitude is what's going to make people respect you. But really what it's doing is it's repelling all the people that you need to be attracting. And the people that need to trust you, they're distrusting you because you're like bipolar to them. They don't know what they're going to get on a day-to-day. So they don't trust you. They don't trust you. They don't trust you with how they're feeling. They don't trust you with their questions. They don't trust you with anything. And so you have to make sure that your tone is authentic to who you are. Now, on the other end, I've had people that were certified buttholes, and it works for them. People would be like, man, she's so cool. Man, I want to be just like this person. People would follow them and they'd like laugh at their little snarky jokes. And one time I was in a meeting, and this is someone I respect a lot and they're hilarious. So we're all in this meeting. And I was visiting with some of my employees, and we were in South Carolina. We came to visit in Atlanta. And so they had this big meeting with everyone that was in the office, everyone standing, listening, getting whatever the announcements were, everyone's directives for the day, like a big team meeting. Hey, welcome so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. At one point, they're like, hey, welcome Yannick and their team. They're in town for the day, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. I'm high-fiving, my people are feeling good, whatever. All of a sudden, the CEO looked at this guy who was wearing this loud blue suit. It was like an electric blue suit, but he was not Prince. In the middle of the meeting, he looked and he was like, so-and-so, Papa Smurf wants his suit back. And it was just so direct. In the middle of the meeting, in the middle of everything, Papa Smurf wants his suits back. Everyone just bust out laughing. I'm thinking, surely this guy's going to leave. Surely he's about to run out this room. Surely. That dude started laughing with him. But that tone, that sarcasm, that everything was authentic to that person. If I would have said something like that, oh, it would have been on Lipstick Alley, all over Facebook, all over Glassdoor, all over Google. Can you believe what she said to me? How dare this bald-headed heifer tell me? I had a lot of hair then. Bald-headed heifer tell me this. And it's mainly because that tone is authentic to that person. So make sure even as you're navigating life, your flow and your tone is authentic to you, because everyone can tell when the fake person has hit the room. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to really name some areas where you're experiencing misalignment. I'm like this, but I'm out here doing this. And this is a hard thing to do. And the reason this is a hard thing to do is we naturally, as humans, we desire to live from the outside in. Meaning it's the experience, the environment, the this, the that is the reason why I'm not successful. God created us to live from the inside out, meaning spirit first, awareness first, who we are first, authenticity first, like him first, all of these different things from the inside out. And so as you're going through this, basically what I'm challenging you to do is reconnect and reclaim your authentic self so you can get back on your authentic path, so you can reap the fruits of what comes from you being on your authentic path. So basically, what areas of your life are you experiencing misalignment? This is who I am, but for some reason, I'm being this person. Now, sometimes we get out of alignment based upon what other people have done. And so instead of transforming, instead of evolving, right? What we do is we create this little shell and we start configuring this other person to protect us from what has happened. And all of that is just from the devil, because it's all meant to get you off of the path that God has designated for you, and to get you to be inauthentic, and to get you to be miserable because you're on someone else's path and you're staying in someone else's lane, and you just never reap the results because you're not in your path. And then next thing you know, you're never reaping results. You're going through negative cycles of repeat. And next thing you know, guess what? You become bitter and you become jaded. Now you're going through life being a bitter and jaded person. Then you're even more mad. So take this time and really think about, hey, where am I misaligned? Why am I doing that? What am I going to do about it? And all of this is to say, hey, why does any of this matter? Well, it matters, friend, if you want to have any sort of peace in your life, if you want to live abundantly, if you want God's best for you, you got to be you. And you've got to embrace yourself. And guess what? That means you're going to be different. While everybody else is saying, ski, da, 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 whatever it is that all the people are doing, you got to be like, look, I'm about my money. or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, right? While everyone else is doing their thing, and what have you, you're in your lane. And this is how I can tell them, and this is how I know most of us are not on our authentic path. Because if you go online, all you see is a bunch of ads for how to do blah, 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 blah. I did this, so can you. And we just do it because we're looking for the result. Your path matters. And you want to take a path that is in alignment for you so that you can achieve said result. Because there's a million different paths that you can take in life to see success. And for everything, every path, we can see someone that's crazy successful in it. And then we can see tragedy in it as well. One person can get into a specific lane and make millions. Someone else can be bankrupt and go into debt because it's just the wrong path for them. So do the work. And if you like this and you want more information like this, first thing is I am going to repost this onto YouTube, what have you. And I'll have some little remnants from this also. But if you like information like this, I have a group that you can join. And this group, like I said, is for women who are looking to reclaim their authentic path this year. So I already have 8 weeks worth of curriculum done to where right now you guys are absorbing the information. But if you're someone you're like, look, this is my year. 2024 is my year of restoration. 2024 is my year of being on point. 2024, like I'm not playing. I've been there, done this. I've seen the cycle. I've done all the everything over and over. And if you're like, look, I'm ready to end these negative cycles and patterns of repeat in my life and get to where God has called me to be, join the group. We meet every week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then you can also catch me doing the live from the same material at noon, like I am right now. The only difference is in the group, I'm asking them more specifically and I'm holding them accountable for their next steps. And it's just, and you would just get more direct. No, it's not on this platform. Click my profile and there's a link called the New Luminaries. And you go to www.thenewluminary.com. Let me actually make sure it's updated while we're on here. You go to thenewluminary.com. That's the group. And only join the group, if you're serious and you want to be held accountable. And really, you have to apply to join. So let me say that first. So don't be upset if you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't just automatically get in there. And the reason I do that is because, one, I want people to know exactly what it's about. Like we expect participation. We expect vulnerability. We expect collaboration. We expect people that are really serious, not people that's just, I don't want to just provide anyone with knowledge. I want all the knowledge to turn into wisdom, meaning things that you actually apply to your life and that you just don't take in. Because we can take in a lot of information, but until you apply it, you're not going to see the results of application. Is that it? Yeah. So thenewluminary.com. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time, and multitasking is definitely not a gift of mine. So I'm just double checking the link. So, yes, request to join my development group, and I'm just going to check the link really quick because I need to make sure that it's the right one, because I updated it for 2024 and lowered the cost a bit. So I want to make sure that's reflected on there. But yeah, join the group. We meet again tonight. Well, we meet every Wednesday night, but we meet tonight. Tonight's going to be amazing. I'm going to review similar information, but just go into more depth and more specifics about what they can do. Give people the workbook. We're going to talk, discuss, and we're going to spend like the first 8 weeks or the next 8 weeks just getting into that authentic space, carving out our path, carving out, I believe week 5, we're talking about finding new opportunities, because it's one thing to know your gifts and it's another thing to be able to identify and to create new opportunities while using your gifts. Because sometimes it's not that the person doesn't know that they're gifted. They just need help knowing what to do with their gifts. And especially if it's not something you've seen before, because sometimes, let me tell you, not sometimes, oftentimes, God will give you a gift and give you a completely different sheet of directions for you that is nothing like what other people are doing. And that can be hard because we live in a world that we just value kind of copying and copying others. And seeing a lot of times is believing, but that's why he asked us to be faithful, because sometimes he's calling us and our next step is going to require us to do something different. Sometimes it's going to require for you to be the first. And guess what? If you want abnormal results, a lot of times you have to take an abnormal path. And so I like to help my people navigate that. And sometimes you need someone else to just talk to you about it and to run your ideas past someone just to feel a little bit better about it, if that makes any sense at all. So yeah, click. Okay, so it's definitely right. Um, Yay. So click the link in my bio and go to request to join my development group. It's called the New Luminaries. You can join. Hopefully you get on tonight at 7. If you make the request, I'm going to go through my request tonight, or actually shortly if you request now. And we're going to get started. And I'm just telling you my call to action this year, and I fasted for this for like 3 months and prayed and everything. And I finally, let me tell y'all, 2 things happened when I ended my fast in January. I heard God say it's broken. And one, I was fasting for breakthrough. And I'll get into the specifics and all that stuff in the group. But the second thing was for direction, right? And the direction and my directive for this year is to help women get back on their authentic path, to get back on their God ordained, their divine path, to where they can do what it is they're supposed to be doing, not what so and so's supposed to be doing. And you know what else it's going to do is eliminate distraction, friend. You're not going to let Julio and Ray Ray and John and all the angry bloggers out there get you off your path. You're going to leave Julio and John and everybody else who's trying to distract you and get you on a program and whatever. That's done. That's done. Become who you were meant to become. Get on your path so you can find that person and that person can find you while you're on said road to Damascus. Okay? Not when you on 420 and you're supposed to be on Highway 10. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, my name's Yannick. You know, my call to action this year, I hope you enjoyed this. Even if you're like, look, I can't join the group or whatever. I hope you do if you want more one-on-one access. But I hope you apply the information on here. If I did nothing else today, I hope I inspired you to embrace who you are. Remember, every perfect gift comes from God. Every quirk about you, that one thing you think is kind of weird, the way you kind of funny looking, you know, but somehow it's still cute and it stands out, you know, think about it. Like even when I look at like certain stars, I'm like, you kind of funny looking, but in a beautiful way. And that's why you stand out on TV. You don't blend in on stage with everybody else. Look, all of us big four-headed girls, you know, all of those little weird things was pleasing to him. So if God likes it, who are you to hate? Anyway, love y'all. See you soon. Bye.